Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Hello, all you dreamers, creamers, and podcast streamers out there. This is the Simpsons Index, episode 56. Hello, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me tonight is BT.
You landed that, man. I'm so proud.
Thank you. And Danny.
You're beautiful. That was beautiful.
Oh, guys, you're going to make me blush.
They won't know.
Yes, because this is the podcast, and specifically the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time.
I thought this was the spreadsheet. Shit. Dressed wrong.
But the catch is each episode comes from a different decade, and yes, you can check out all the spreadsheet and our reviews and podcast links at thesimpsonsindex.com.
Aren't we also on Podbean?
Yes, we are, and now, as of last week, we're on Stitcher.
I don't know what that is.
Another podcasting platform.
And also iTunes?
And iTunes.
Where aren't we?
And tonight, starting out, the first episode of The Simpsons we watched was The Kids Are All Fight. This was from season 26, episode 19. Did you like that pun?
I feel like they've already used that song in a pun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bids are all right.
Nice. The squids go all night.
Oh, yeah, that episode about the squid.
Yeah. And the squid in the night.
That the sea captain fell in love with.
Beautiful episode. Really
All
good
right,
touch.
didn't want to kill you. I just heard there was gold in your belly.
Yes, this episode...
was quick.
This episode was written by Rob Lezebnik.
Metallica.
Yeah. And it was first released in April of 2015. In this episode, Homer finds a long-lost roll of film that he gets developed at Moe's, which reveals Bart and Lisa had a very, very fighty relationship.
Yes.
They did not always get along. And so Marge tells the story of how they didn't always get along and the moment where they started getting along. Guys, what did you think?
Myself in this episode did not get along.
You wanted to punch it? You wanted to slam a book in its face?
I just want Rod Led Zeprick to learn how to write an episode.
This was a bad episode. I think...
You've still got the smell like stuck in your nostrils, don't you?
Oh, man. I can't wait to rip it to shreds. You know, I'm actually looking forward to this one because I hate it so
Really?
much.
Wow.
One of those sick relationships, you know.
Because I'm on a like just leave it by the wayside and pay it no mind.
Oh no, this needs
you're
discipline.
You're on anger. Okay, cool.
Well, yeah. Let's start the questionnaire. So the first question, the story. What it was sort of like an A story, but it sort of was divided between Homer and Marge and Bart and Lisa at the end.
Could you phrase that as a story? Sorry, could you phrase that as a question?
First
question. Story?
What is story? Yeah, what did you guys think of this story?
Well,
I'm struggling to remember it.
okay, so I really didn't like that's how they opened it up. They opened it up by Homer walking in saying, "I'm in a suit and I'm going to pay my bill," and Moe's being like, "What? Someone paying me money once in my life?" That was kind of. I laughed a little, chuckled.
Yep.
His cash register had never been opened.
But the whole cha-ching, that's what that sound means, money.
Yeah. And then Homer's going through his pockets and he's like, "Oh, look at all these interesting things." And Moe goes, "Oh, I knew I wasn't going to get any money out of this guy."
So, yeah, they immediately throw that away.
Yeah. I kind of like that gag. They're like, "Yeah, I knew somehow this wasn't going to work."
I did, in terms of story, like it as a setup. You know, we've all done that thing where you wear something you haven't worn in a long time. You're like, "Oh, hey, what's this from? Neat."
Yes.
Yep.
I liked it as a concept, except then he pulled out like 15 references like to older episodes or
very
something.
Daffy Duck. Pulls out a lit TNT.
Yeah.
Stick.
That was so dumb.
This has been in here forever. No.
The yarmulke from Disco Stu and Selma's wedding and old Bill and...
just old episode references that felt really just hammed in.
Yeah.
And also, he's in the suit apro of nothing, which...
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did he think he could afford to pay his bill?
Yeah.
Why was he wearing a suit?
All we need is, it's laundry day.
That would have done.
That's fine.
I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there was no reason for any of it because, the whole paying the bill thing gets thrown away immediately.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But, talking about the whole framing device of the telling the past story, I don't think they did a horrible job of that. I just think the material was horrible.
Yeah. They've used that well before, and it's not. There's nothing wrong with that as a concept.
No, like I think back to Dangerous Curves, the one where they're telling like 3 different points in time, and that episode was like really structurally really confusing.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you knew where they were.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a compliment.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like the way they found Mo to resolve the camera, the photos, and then they spread them out in the thing, and then he signed it with Matt, which was Simpson's gag.
Yeah.
Simpsons gag.
It was, do you want a matte finish? And
Yeah.
And wrote Matt Groening's signature on it.
Yeah.
So weak.
All this was weak. But, I mean, conceptually, finding the old photos and then using that to segue into the past, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So,
But then before that, we had this weird segue where Mo's like, you're never going to find anywhere to get that film developed. All the places have been turned into hunter's nests or something like that. And then there's a bit where a deer gets shot at and runs into some building that I'm assuming is
a
now...
Circuit City, which is like, it's like a Dick Smith's of America.
Discontinued. They're gone.
Yeah.
And there are other deer there, and they'll like give them the other deer the look of "Welcome to our deer sanctuary. No one comes in here. Do you get it?"
It was such a weak cutaway sort of
joke.
Yeah. And the whole thing with like Mo setting up the dark room. Oh, this place is so dark that it's legally a dark room, and then switches a light so it's a dark room.
Yeah.
Why would you switch the light if it was already legally a dark? Fuck you guys, Simpsons. Fuck you, Mo. Getting me cranky now. And then there was the bit where they made all the shit camera jokes, and they suddenly pan back, and there's like an 8x10 of beer.
Oh, yeah. There's an 8x10 I can get behind.
There's an 8x10 I can enjoy.
I had blissfully forgotten about that.
Fuck that.
Yeah, because they were setting it up
that joke.
That Duff beer is full of the same chemicals that you find in a photo generating darkroom lab.
Yep.
Lame.
Didn't need to do that. Didn't really go anywhere. The only reason they did it was so they can make that one shitty joke about an 8x10 slab of beer, which I'm pretty sure no one buys beer by the 80 pack.
Well, Ben, you're in the liquor industry.
No, that doesn't happen. Not even in Australia.
More than that, even if it did happen, A, why did it suddenly pull back to a slab that wasn't there before? B, why did you make the one shitty joke and then it vanishes as if it wasn't there in the first place? And C, why?
Why, Eddie?
Why?
Let's tone this frustration down with a quick visit to Jordan's anal corner, despite the fact he's not here.
Jordan's Anal Corner.
Jordan's anal corner.
Without Jordan.
New edition.
Octagonus.
Mo is pouring beer into a glass before Lisa squirts Bart with it, but however, the beer, once it enters the glass, you can't actually see it go into the bottom. It just disappears and then starts filling up the glass.
Frosted glass. No, that doesn't work
nothing's
either.
that frosted. And his glasses aren't frosted. We've seen them before.
It
This has been
is-
Jordan's anal corner. Please leave before anyone can poke holes in your theory.
I no.
We left.
It's okay. I got no holes
We've
for your
left the
theory.
corner.
No holes. You're airtight. I hope you took a breath before you went in there.
So what about the Bart and Lisa in the past fighting storyline? Like, how did you like how that thing played out?
It was a little too self-referential heavy and proud of it.
Yeah.
Because first you see Bart's in his old clown bed.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's the clown bed. I remember that.
Yeah, and then there's Grandma Flanders.
Grandma Flanders. I remember her. She was from the same episode, I think.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
And her voice was just fucking ruined.
So weak. Like, just a bad impression.
Yeah, it didn't have any of the mania, the crazy, the scary. It felt really half-assed as well, just as a voice. It was like,
Yeah.
hello, Joe. How
I'm
you
100
doing?
years old.
I'm 100 years old. That's my half-assed impression of a half-assed impression.
We're down to a quarter ass, people.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty close. Pretty close.
Yep.
But there were a lot of references to the better episodes, which does sort of cheapen it a bit.
Weirdly, like, it's not anything that ruins it in retcon or anything like that. It's just, it feels like it's pointing, going, and you're like,
Yep.
yeah, it would have been fine as like a background gag, or if you just did it and left, but it just feels a little too proud of itself.
It's like cashing in. It's like, remember when we were funny? That means we're still funny now, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like
Yeah.
that bit where Kent Brockman's like, and I'm here with Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Where he's like pointing at the thing.
You can't borrow funny from the past.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not a time machine.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. But the whole twist with the story of Bart and Lisa running off after Hello Joe dies. I forgot her name. Oh, Grandma Flanders.
Yeah. Months before this, and it's a single thing happened in this, I was already like, he's going to get in trouble with the bullies. She's going to save him. He's going to discover that her smarts can get him out of trouble.
But what I didn't like is how they followed up that bully scene with the hill scene where they showed them frustratedly not getting along again. Like, I thought it was undercutting the point of them working together, because then they weren't.
They found out they were stronger together.
Yeah, but then they immediately follow it up with a scene of Bart being a jerk, which it didn't play well with me.
Yeah, him pushing her down the hill could have been played well. It could have been like one of those courage things, like when he encouraged her to jump the crevasse.
Yeah, and then he realizes she's in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah, in Bart and Lisa, the third grade, that one, yeah.
That could have been cool. It wasn't. It was a petty, malicious thing, which he then did have a change of heart and waste and saved her, blah, blah, blah. And then he's teasing her and doesn't give a shit anyway, and not in a way that makes me feel like it's playful bantering of bonded
It feels like
friends.
teasing again, yeah.
And you watch Lisa get fed up with it as well. She's like, come on, man, I'm giving you a free pass here. I'm folding.
Just
you
be
can call
cool.
Yeah, shit. And us as the audience were just like, fuck, man, come on. Lisa's doing her best. Fucking fuck off, Bart.
And the other thing I
things
hated,
I've never said before.
And the other thing I hated was, like, when Marge and Homer do catch up with them at the tire fire, there was no scene before establishing them getting on the tire fire and then being in imminent danger.
Yeah, I thought because that could have been really funny. Instead, it's like, but you know how kids like to climb things.
Yeah.
That's why we're on top of a tire fire.
That is the laziest writing.
Oh, yeah.
All the writing in that scene felt like the writers have got kids. You know how kids are always climbing shit?
Yeah.
Oh, I
and
know
then
that.
Homer being like, you know, they say that parents always get crazy strength in times like these. Homer, quick.
Get crazy strength.
And then the tree. They did the fucking Warner Brothers tree shtick.
Yep.
Yeah.
What the fuck were they thinking?
Well, in that instance, I might jump ahead to the next question, which is the wackiness. So the tree thing, Bart and Lisa are dead.
Yeah, they grab onto the tip of this tree. Homer, the branch breaks and is.
They did land in a comfy bed. They would have been
They would have had to go through a window
pool
for
of
it.
meat. They would have had to go through an open window, hopefully.
Hopefully.
They would have been a pool of meat in that bed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was on the other side of town by a long shot.
It shows they travel. It's a distance.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the bed collapses. They hit the bed hard enough that the bed shatters underneath them into splinters and nails.
It's true.
Yeah. So weak.
But this was already the corpse of Lisa at this point because she'd already drowned in the washing machine.
Yeah, it's true. We'd seen in the photo montage, there's Bart putting her into the laundry machine, filling it up, and there's clearly not enough air there.
Dark episode.
Yep.
Yeah, and Lisa pushing Bart's arm through the Play-Doh, the make the star-shaped thing.
That was, what are these people made of?
Bart tying Lisa to the train tracks and running the train into her mouth.
That was the other
Toy
weird
train.
thing. A lot of their not getting along was like strangely violent, and not like comedically violent, as in they just started beating each other with books at one point.
Yeah. They've never really been played as just violent kids before.
Yeah, there are ways to have them not get along, but still...
They've been malicious, they've been cruel and petty to each other and teased each other mercilessly and stuff. I'd never thought of, especially Lisa, I never thought of her as just like mindlessly violent like that. I think it demeans her character.
Where she pins Bart down with the croquet loops and then just belts him in the head with the mallet.
Yeah, it's got like an itchy and scratchy vibe to it. They don't feel like human children anymore.
They sort of get away with it a bit more because they are 2 and 4 in this story, where they're a bit younger and they haven't really learnt the boundaries yet.
Yeah,
But
they can't swing a croquet mallet to a killing blow.
Is it just me, or did you never? It's hard to tell with stupid episodes. Did Flanders invite them round for lunch,
Brunch.
and they stayed home to have sex instead?
They were late because they were having sex.
Oh, they were late. They were still going
yeah,
around.
they still do go to brunch because they come back home from brunch. And they're all like, that brunch was great.
This brings me to my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
The sex.
Everybody loves the sex scenes.
This one was the best part of this episode and
By
of probably
far.
the whole season. I can't think, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've all laughed louder in a worse episode yet.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So Marge is zipping up quite a slinky dress and she's like, zip. And Homer's like, oh baby, oh baby.
Why don't we just blow off brunch?
Yeah.
We could do some role play.
She's like, all right, what do you have in mind?
And Homer just quickly thinking of a scenario.
We have to be cool. We have to be fast. Quick, think of some role play. Homer's like, me, Seagull, you, trash can on the Broadway on the boardwalk. And Marge is just like, oh, yes.
Yeah. And so that was funny, and they cut away to more Bart and Lisa shenanigans.
Yeah.
And you think that was it, and that was great. And in a rare moment where they cut back to a joke.
What's he singing?
He's singing Making Whoopee. Another bride, another June, another sunny honeymoon,
and
another season, another reason for making whoopee.
Standing on top of the bedhead with big seagull feathers in his hand while Marge is naked except for a trash can lid.
It's phenomenal. It's a beautiful, magical shot that you'd never expect them to do.
And they cut at the right moment too. Yes. Just as he leaps, before he crashes into Marge, they cut. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
They're just casually singing that before.
Yeah. He's standing with his arms out with like 5 huge feathers in each hand. It looks like he's got like throwing knives lined up. And she's holding the fucking garbage can like a cabaret dancer.
It's brilliant. Because there are so many ways that could have gone wrong. But
it's
that
about to. It cuts right before it goes.
Yeah.
No, I love that the kind of implication there is, yep, this is how sex works.
This is how sex works. Yeah.
Because
we're all doing it wrong.
Yeah. Because there's a good bit in Worst Episode Ever where they're talking about, we know these characters, obviously, you know, in the universe, they had kids, but you don't ever want to think about the actual mechanics of that. And this was just absurd enough to be funny without making you think of the actual mechanics of all.
There's no questions involved.
No, it actually brings me back to a Family Guy one where Lois and Peter are having an earnest conversation about the children's well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, they're dressing up in like tights and leather and gimp masks and stuff.
Yeah.
And it cuts just as Lois hits Peter by saying the safety,
the safety word is bananas.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. Implied disgusting sex. So yeah, that was some good wacky sex there. But
Me Seagull, you trash can on the boardwalk. Not a lady seagull, trash can.
It sort of segues into the heart. Did you guys feel the heart of this episode?
No.
No.
I like that was a challenge to see who could say no first.
I feel like clearly they were going for a Bart and Lisa heart. There was the parents getting stressed out when the kids disappeared and frazzled. There was how lovely the Flanders' kids are and, we're Rod and Todd. We're God's gift to earth. Can we tuck ourselves into bed for lovely naps while we dream of our Lord? Not until you're 18, because only sluts do that.
Boom.
He's paraphrasing, but essentially, that was the bit, and it was awkward and stupid. But, I mean, the other heart moments, I think they landed the one with the bullies and Bart and Lisa.
Don't tuck yourselves in, you'll go blind.
Hairy palms.
They didn't say that. It wasn't that funny.
No, this is us. We're much funnier.
Yes, we are.
We watch the episode so you don't have to, and you can laugh at us instead. I think us riffing on that seagull bit is probably funnier than the summation of this episode.
I was legitimately about to throw my notepad down in just, there's no point in writing notes. This is a boring episode. But this whole seagull bit, okay, now I'm going to hold on to it.
What did you get?
And when you see it at the time, it's a really poorly cued reference to 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Where they're playing the music as Homer's coming in to strangle Bart, but it has no reason why or anything like that. It's just it's just music.
I guess the implication that they're going for there is this was the first time that it happened, but
it's not. We know that.
Yeah, it's not. And the point of the 2001 thing is that the monolith is an instigator of change. Something. This is supposed to be a huge moment of a realization of clarity or a moment of evolution or change.
Yep.
And it's not. No. Nothing happens.
It feels like someone's iPod just shuffled and they just went with it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and that in that same scene was another reference to the part where they had the phonics frog from the episode where Maggie gets accepted into the Yale Accelerated School. Yeah. Again, more just shitty past references. But yeah, the heart of this episode, I thought the turn with the bullies and Lisa and Bart was actually kind of good, which made me even more pissed off that they sort of undercut it landing.
The line about her crying out her nose was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Just when she's like, I'm crying, and I'm like, yeah, she's faking it. I'm crying out my fucking nose, guys. What?
This is as real as it gets.
Yeah. Wow.
You wait till you get those nose
She's
tears.
selling that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, which made it that much sadder that it didn't land, and then the ending sort of
then we go to
petered
that
out.
hill bit, then don't we?
Yeah.
Where Bart kicks her down and then saves her, and it's like you had Lisa saving him by pretending to cry and using her wit.
Yeah,
So then have Bart saving her with actual, his I don't know, physical superiority or mischievousness or something.
His Bart.
Street
His
smarts.
Barts.
Yeah, I quite like the line with your smarts and my Barts.
It's like,
Yeah.
what's Bart's?
Yeah, like
You're smart, you figure it out.
Yep, yeah, I would have left it without that because that part just brought it down a little to me.
Yep.
But with your smarts and my Barts, what are Barts? That's a great little cut of him not being the smarts.
Yeah.
But having the catchy street smart rhymes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the way the episode played out as it did, it wasn't satisfying. It wasn't heartfelt. I didn't feel the hearts, and they didn't really land the heart either when they cut back to the present day.
No.
And especially how with the ending, they cut back to the past and do a little Dr. Hibbert saves the mother over the Seinfeld theme. What the fuck is happening?
Because that's why I asked when this episode came out. Came out in 2015. And so it's got a title card that says 6 years ago. And then it's playing the Seinfeld theme, but this would have been 2009.
Yeah.
Seinfeld been off air for years at that point.
Yeah.
And also in the same episode that they were trying to say, 6 years ago, an old person had a phone that they needed.
Teach me how to use my mobile phone.
Well, not only that, okay, one of the first jokes you get when they start cutting back is Marge goes, "The president was the guy in the Oval Office," and
the popular music of the day was
all the
rage.
Trying to avoid
Yeah.
specifying what era this takes place. But then you've got all these other jokes that just, first of all, slam it into an era, and second of all, slam it into the wrong era.
Yeah.
I like that as an idea of being purposely vague, but I
Yeah.
feel they've done that too many times.
Well,
that
it just didn't
it's not being
land.
witty anymore.
Yeah.
It's just doing their shtick, their spiel.
Yeah, it's not like I'm really looking forward to seeing the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Mr. Black.
All right. Well, we can agree it was devoid of heart, but did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
I guess no one was really off point. Like, they weren't doing what they were doing well, but I don't think anyone was terribly, except for Lisa being a little too violent.
Yeah, you can chalk that up to her being younger, and she does kind of learn that she needs to give up with Bart, and I guess that sort of sets up the future of a character, but also I'm not happy with that explanation.
It's that situation where I can't say this feels like The Simpsons, but I don't feel like it says it doesn't. So I'm just going to say...
I feel like the
nothing.
idea behind it, the concept, looking at the past and how the two kids learned to get along better, is very Simpsons-y. It's a storyline that's more about bonding and family and trust and coming to love and familial love, intrafamilial relationships, blah, 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 blah. It's very Simpsons-y.
Intra-family relationships.
It's a very Simpsons-y thematic episode. I just don't think the writing carried it in the way that it would have in the old days.
Yeah, so we've got an example of here where the characters were on point, but the show as a whole was off.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
No.
All
Wait,
right.
maybe just for that seagull bit.
Oh, man.
Would I sit through it just to recap that?
I can't wait for Frinkiak to bring that GIF out.
Yeah.
I am putting that GIF on a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah, I'll
Somehow, work out the technology and make it so.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll cut and edit that out, and that can be the episode, just 22 minutes of that over and over again.
Yep, I'm on board.
Right at the end, they're like, "So how'd you find an extra room for Maggie?"
Oh,
yeah,
that was an off-point moment.
Well, I used to have my weed in there.
Yeah, so
That's a flawless Marge, by the way, everybody.
Yep. It actually brings up a good point about, the HD Simpsons, how they're mentioning weed a lot more, and I think it's just because it's becoming more and more legal in America.
I think it's not about being legal. I think it's about becoming pop. It's trendy to talk about weed now.
Yeah, there are like fucking loot crates just of weed at paraphernalia now.
Really?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's a thing.
I gotta get on that loot crate.
Quake.
Quay.
Have you guys seen this episode before? I forgot to ask that.
No.
I have. Anyway.
Congratulations. There's the intro credits, the Game of Life thing. I feel they've done the Game of Life thing before. It was very depressing.
Yeah, it was just flat out bad.
It went too long and a bunch of other problems.
And its final joke that it ends on is Grandpa at the end with a "Don't forget about me" sign, and then they all scream, and it's dumb.
It's awful. It's just like, Homer's kids are a bad thing happening to him. Homer's hair, bad thing happening to him. Homer's beer gut and job and wife
Grandpa.
and life and his father. Everything. His father's a bad thing to Homer. His kids are a bad thing to Homer.
Well, it also says bad job. It's like nuclear safety inspector is a pretty good job.
Yeah.
He could be working in McDonald's.
Yeah.
He could be working.
He could be working in a sawmill with poor safety regulations.
Yeah. He could be working in a coal mine. He could be working in one of those shitty fucking mouse costumes holding out the sample pad of cheeses outside of fucking Curly Joe's.
One of the ones where they make you wear communal underwear.
You guys are just giving The Simpsons more ideas for new Homer jobs.
Yeah.
Well, maybe then he'll appreciate what he's got.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. In his actual game of life, he has like several jobs.
Oh, yeah. It's a long career path for him.
Yeah.
His resume must be stunning.
Yeah.
He's been a nuclear plant owner.
Yeah.
Can you put that in the resume?
Yeah. Successfully owned and operated the nuclear Springfield power plant for however long it was.
However long.
Half an hour.
That's enough. It's longer than I have.
Yeah.
And when you're interviewing, who are you going to pick? The guy who ran a nuclear power plant for half hour or the guy who didn't?
Was that when he went to India?
Canary and Burns is what I'm thinking of.
So yeah, he also ran the Indian nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Paul
He
Linder.
has run 2 power plants.
To my 0. Come on.
So BT, do you have any other notes about this episode before
I
we
do.
rank this thing?
Let me just get the microphone away from my mouth for a little bit. They mispronounced Brisbane for the 1988 World's Fair, which they referenced for some reason. They're like, it was in Brisbane. I'm like, do they mean Brisbane? So I had to Google 1988 World's Fair. Yep, Brisbane.
In Australia, really?
Yeah, in this Brisbane. Quick reference guide to all our American listeners. If you want to learn how to pronounce an Australian name, just pretend there aren't any vowels. It's just all consonants. So Brisbane, Brisbane, would just be Brisbane, which would be Brisbane, mate.
Yep.
I can't talk. I barely have an Australian accent to the best of
I know,
times.
yeah, I don't know. That was
Well, at least
terrible.
you don't
People are
say-
just going to go, was that Pakistani? I'm confused.
But I mean, so many Americans pronounce Melbourne Malborn.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
Melbourne.
That's
Yeah.
too many vowels.
Yeah, pretend there are none.
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
You know it works.
This has been talking Australian with some Australians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut the letter R out of every word you say. Don't say hamburger.
Say hamburger. So it's like replacing the R's with H's, isn't it?
Don't say murder.
Murder.
Noida.
Any other yellings that you have?
There's a sign in the back of Wiggum's office that's a newspaper clipping. It says, "Cop surrenders to Scarecrow." I thought that once again, the sign writers in this,
Yeah, they're on point,
doing just
man.
a bang
That
up
was
job. Why is Mo giving out free milk?
Oh,
Because
okay.
there's a scene where Bart and Lisa are missing, and they've got their picture on the back of the milk carton, and Mo's just handing out little cups of milk to children.
Yeah, because that was referencing the scene before where he showed all those children that he got kidnapped to make his cocktail umbrellas. So,
I may have stopped paying attention.
Yeah,
and was
he-
reading the lyrics to Whoopi.
yeah, because Homer was looking for the kids, and Mo opens the closet and goes, "Are these any of yours?" And
He's got like
He's-
10 children just locked in
I'm
his
not going
closet.
to lie, listeners. I did stop paying attention, and so should you to this episode. Not to us, we're great.
well, it pisses me off because this is another callback to a pre-established bit where, like, when Mo was had the whale from SeaWorld in
Yep.
his
Yeah.
closet,
Yeah.
and he was running the deer hunter Russian roulette game at one other
Yep.
point.
Or when he called Marge and his cat was like, "Meow, I'm asking her, shut up."
And when he has the pandas, like,
yeah.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but for some reason the animal cruelty bits are way better than the child endangerment ones.
Well, you can say that. That's pretty good.
But I guess there was some delightful way in which he was handling all those other situations, whereas this one was like, oh my god, he has enslaved children to make his cocktail umbrellas.
Well, he did say, "Look, I'll find your family and bring you back to him." Maybe they're just his lost and found closet.
Oh dear God. Yeah, this that was just so gross. And Mo isn't Quagmire, you know?
Yeah.
Mo's a bit of an ambivalent, ambiguous character sometimes. I don't think they quite understand who he is, you know?
Yeah.
It's true. They failed. They've only had 26 years to figure it out, and they failed.
Yep. And speaking of failed, like, it seems so rich of them to go, oh, the Planet of the Apes movie should have stopped like 8 movies ago. And it's like, oh, fucking pot calling the kettle old.
Yeah, that was such a weird bit. Like, oh, it's like the Planet of the Apes movies. Like, why even this? Stop.
This feels too specific to me. I don't think The Simpsons usually make direct critiques of other film and cinema. They wouldn't say, you know what, I really liked Citizen Kane, but I didn't like its spin-offs. Kane 2 Goes to Hollywood.
Hey, that is an underrated film.
Kane in the Cell.
Citizen Kane 2, Electric Boogaloo.
The straight-to-DVD All Labradors one, which was Rose Buddies.
I mean, this is pretty funny to be riffing on. I'm enjoying that. But Simpsons, as a rule, don't tend to be snippy about other media, you know? But part of it is that they are ambiguously not in our world, you know?
Yeah.
Only, things like politics and celebrities flow over, not the things that celebrities create.
Yeah, and the more that they directly import celebrities, the less convincing or the less enjoyable the episodes are. Bringing Lady Gaga and Britney Spears directly in, not as funny as having a character called McBain who is clearly Schwarzenegger but isn't quite Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's the whole glorifying pop culture versus parodying and holding the artistic mirror up
Absolutely.
to it.
Absolutely. It's funny when you're being fun about it.
Yeah.
But using them as a paycheck, as a cash grab to say, look at this famous thing, pay attention to us, is cheap.
Very
it cheapens them. The other thing we haven't mentioned is they did about 5 endings, and then they said, we've had 3 good endings. What are we doing?
And then they have another ending that doesn't even obey the meta commentary.
This doesn't feel like the first time they've done this thing in the HD era, where they've done some bad directing or bad writing, and then just they hang a lampshade on it. They said, look, our writing is terrible. Yeah. And they think that gets them off the hook? No, it doesn't.
If anything, it makes you worse for not fixing the thing you clearly know is a problem.
Yeah, fuck. Fuck.
Another bit of poor writing was when Marge goes, oh, I never thought I'd turn to this, and she picks up a Bible, then pulls out the psychic card, then calls a psychic, and Selma answers, oh, the other person got hit by a car, never saw it coming.
Yeah, who's hands up everyone out there who hasn't heard that joke before. Small, medium, and large.
Oh my God, his eyes have rolled so far into the back of his head, it's stuck. All I see is whites.
That's racist.
Yeah. Checkmate. How about the zombie oldies bit?
I think it was a funny concept. I liked the door opening, and they had sort of like almost like a Hitchcocky, Stephen Kingy sort of shot of them in the shadows.
Yeah, let me pinch your cheeks.
Yeah,
that was fine.
Great shot, great idea. It fell apart pretty quickly. I felt using old Jewish guy as like a really Jewish. Look at my dreidel, I'm so dreidely.
It is made out of clay.
Like that song. Yeah.
What's the Jewish translation of Waka Waka?
Yeah, L'chaim.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do. I feel like they literally. It feels like they didn't have it. We haven't got a joke. What's something funny he could say? Yeah. I don't know. Let's just
dreidel. That's a funny word.
Hey,
that's a Jewish thing.
Yeah. Puke. That's a funny word.
Can I use that?
Motherfuckers.
Before we rank this thing, I've just got a quick fire of negative notes.
Yep.
And go.
We have to have story time at the Quickie Mart now. Oh, and Apu fed Dad day old hot dogs, and he goes, "No, you still have to take pills." What was that bit?
Yeah. He has to take pills.
Yeah,
pills is a funny word.
Because of the day-old hot dog. Didn't he once eat a 7-year-old hot dog?
Yep. Homer's line, the most anyone... I stole a packet of Altoids out of her office. That's the most anyone has gotten out of therapy.
Boo.
It's like, fuck you. That's not a clever line and commentary.
Whole therapy
about,
scene was shit.
Let's do a trust exercise. Close your eyes and bails.
They're still in your office.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was really weak. What kind of therapist would diagnose one child as good and one child as evil? First off, that doesn't make sense. And second off, why would you then not have any suggestions? You'd just be like, well, this is over. Scene's over. We've run out of jokes.
Yeah, is that their commentary here, that therapists are bad and that's it? Like, come on.
That is the next thing they said. Therapists are bad and have literally never helped anyone.
Ralph's appearance, your brother's stupid, and then he jumps in the wheel of the truck. Wheel and the truck goes round and round and then goes on for an extra beat, and now the truck drives onto a boat.
Yeah.
The boat goes up and down.
That was a terrible thing.
And he looked really off model as well. I know
were they
it's
going
meant
for
to be the
surrealist? Like when he climbs into the hubcap and then he's just like the flattest of 2D drawings. He looks like a sticker on the wheel.
Comes Flat Stanley of horror. Yeah.
The fuck was the point of that?
It was so just Ralph's funny. Let's insert him in this episode.
and then roll him out. Play me out, boys.
Yeah. And speaking of which, young Milhouse, I actually thought that was like a really cute model, and he's playing badminton with himself.
He was adorable.
Oh, I bounced it twice. New record.
Yeah, that was okay because it was just a passing gag.
Yeah, but I didn't think much of like when he wandered in the house, tried to get his dad's attention. It was like, ooh, cartoons. And then dad's like, oh, Milhouse, what's it? Ooh, cartoons.
Like, he was young and cute and distracted, and he had such big eyes and he was adorable. I just wanted to squeeze his cheeks.
Yeah.
Not his dad. I mean, he,
But yeah, it overplayed its hand by the cartoons bit, and then it cut to Bart and Lisa going, big dog, and it's the Chihuahua.
Yeah, that was weak.
When Homer bursts into Moe's looking for the kids and he shotgun blasts the pizza.
Yep.
We took all afternoon to decide what flavor. We decided cheese.
Fuck off.
I'd forgotten all this happened.
I know that this is my scrupulous note taking to remind you of why you're going to give it a bad ranking.
What that reminded me of?
Yeah,
that reminded me of those two really fat, really stupid guys in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Hitchcock and Scully.
Yeah,
the joke is that they're stupid and hungry and fat and lazy, and
that's everything.
And that's it. I still feel like I'm waiting for where's the joke?
Yeah,
this is weak, gentlemen. This is weak.
Oh, and finally, when Bart's like, I'm still remembering our phone number, but it's okay, an emergency, I'll call 918.
God damn it, stop making me remember shit.
Yeah.
I wrapped this up like 5 minutes ago.
Well, that's all my horrible notes.
Yeah, I actually do have one I found.
Oh, yeah?
It was a joke I liked that turned into a joke I didn't like, where they're in the library and they're getting ushered out and the guard's like, I need you to leave now.
Yeah, I did like that.
But then they ruin it by when he goes outside, then he's allowed to yell at them, and then goes back inside. I liked just the implication of, he's just the guard getting you out.
Yeah.
I mean,
library guards.
You can't shout in the library. You can't shout in the library. You don't have to spell it out by getting outside the library.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny when he was just, okay, you're going to have to get out now. We don't want to see you around here anymore.
Let's rank this thing!
But how?
Well, on the Simpsons index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. But maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it a participant. And then for the good rankings, you got bronze, you got a silver, you got a gold, but the best, the good one, the great, big, awesome ones that are just fucking excellent, dude. Like Waka Waka Cowabunga Radical Tubular Bangers. Those episodes, you rank Cubic Zirconia. I broke beach.
My planet needs me.
But I'm going to start first. Let me show you how the ranking is done.
That's good, because I am so confused.
Look, this only just gets a participant from me. I would have ranked it a failure, but for me, doesn't have the complete aura of something that failed. It just... Only just, though. I feel like I'm marking generously here. Shag, what do you reckon?
Beach, you go first.
Beach, you go first.
It failed, but I wouldn't call it a failure. It's difficult, but failures I want to hate. I want to have something I want to yell at and point at, and this one I'm just going to forget. Again, I'm struggling to remember it now. Maybe that's why I don't hate it as much as I maybe should, because I've forgotten all the bad points, but they weren't so bad they stuck with me, and that one seagull bit pulled it.
Seagull bit.
Just a diamond in a pile of needles.
All right, that's locked in. And finally, Danny.
Yeah, look, I'm going failure because, like he said, it is a pile of needles with one nice piece in it. Don't forget there's a pile of fucking needles, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This was not a good episode, and I think that we are being kind to it because it's got baby Lisa and baby Bart and baby Milhouse, and it's so cute. No. But I don't respect what they've done here, you know? Definitely, they had great basic plot shape, the two children bonding and the adventure in the past and learning to love each other. That's the makings of a Cubic Zirconia episode, you know? And they failed to achieve that. Pretty much all what I would have called jokes in this are really poor or tasteless or offensive or undercut seconds later by themselves.
Yeah, they go for the second bite.
Yeah. And damn, we got that one amazing laugh, and I don't want to devalue that, but I think as an episode, this is more of a disappointment than a bland pass mark. You know, I left crankier. I think you're going to listen back to this episode and be like, you know what, we really did hate that quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm feeling that
you've
now.
forgotten about a bunch of it.
I did, and that's probably saving it, is that I kind of tuned out and started just fucking around, checking when the Brisbane World's Fair was on.
Yeah.
That may have saved you, Simpsons episode, making me Google something.
Yeah. Well, 2 participants and a failure, that'll equal a dull participant all around, which is a very good label for it, I find.
It is a dull participant.
It'll join such episodes as Don't Fear the Roofer, $1 Million AB.
Finally got it right.
Yeah. Eternal Moonshine of the Simpsons Mind,
Didn't say it.
Dangerous Curves. Oh, we brought up that episode before. Whiskey Business, 4 Regrettings and a Funeral, and Havana Wild Weekend. Yeah, I feel like it's in the company.
The
it
right
should
company,
be in. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, that does feel. I like that new feature of this, of reading out what it's now paired with.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
that belongs about there.
Yeah,
It's family.
Yeah.
definitely. All right, cool. Well, let's go to the teens era, and we're covering an episode from season 14 called Break My Wife, Please.
Oh, another one of these ones.
Yeah, another one's that's taking off the Rodney Dangerfield bit. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them.
I got a lot of titles out of that.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll be back.
Don't you go changing.
Almost every night, he doesn't phone her, she doesn't write. She says he's busy, but she says he's making whoopee.
And we are back, and we just watched season 14, episode 20, Break My Wife, Please. It was first released in May 2003, and it was written by Tim Long.
God damn it, Tim Long.
It explains a lot. In this episode, after losing his license, Homer takes up walking and finds it's a great improvement on his life, but Marge is frustrated because she has to drive everybody everywhere, and she takes out her frustration on Homer by running him down. And then there's a little, like, what do they call it? The sister who, like, constantly injures the other sister.
You're thinking of Munchausen by proxy.
It's a Munchausen by proxy thing where... and then, so to make it up to her, Homer throws Marge a big dinner.
I ate my twin in the womb.
Guys, what did you think?
It makes me want to eat my twin.
You can only do that so many times.
Oh.
I gotta say, I feel like I remember that episode being better, and that was about 20 laugh-free minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprisingly disappointed. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it ended up being. I think it kind of went downhill as it went.
It definitely did, yeah. I like the beginning, when they're at the aquarium. There's some good stuff there. But then as soon as Homer gets injured, I'm like, oh, I remember this goes, and it's stupid. Like, I remembered his whole walking song and Steve Buscemi there for some reason.
No reason, really.
No reason.
You know, he's there for the reason of now we know how to properly pronounce his name.
Yep.
Buscemi, not Buscemi.
It's Buscemi? Oh, okay.
Well, that's how he pronounced it. I assume he would know.
The song was written, like, by someone that wasn't paying attention. They were just like, oh, I'm going to write a sentence. I'm totally distracted. Let's drop Steve Buscemi in.
It feels like a reference to a musical. I don't know what it is. I don't care.
I did write down,
No.
This episode feels like it has ADD. And
Yeah.
I stand by that.
Yeah.
To be fair, most of it is still coherent, but you just have these quick little branches off into, wait, why were we talking about that?
Oh, look, squirrel.
Yeah, pretty much. So you do get a coherent story out of it, but yeah, the asides and some of the gags are just, ooh, squirrel. Hey, shiny. Wait, what?
Well, starting
Yeah.
out talking
Yeah.
about the squirrel, the one thing that I didn't like is...
One thing that I didn't like.
Okay, one of many things that I didn't like, specifically to do with the story, is that it felt like... It reminds me a lot of the episode Love is a Many Strangled Thing, where it started out Homer embarrassed Bart by tickling him to the point that he peed his pants.
Yep.
And then it became an episode about how bad it is that Homer chokes Bart. And it sort of felt like it was ditching its own setup. And the same thing here, where it was like Homer being afraid of Marge, like constantly injuring him. And then it turns into Homer making it up to Marge.
Yeah, they had this sort of Homer loses his car, Marge being the driver and getting fed up thing, and that's sort of like felt like the main story. And then when they got distracted by this, when they got distracted by this, Homer's scared of Marge and Marge is violently and hates Homer. That's like, oh, we've changed our minds. We're gonna do a different story now. It didn't feel like a B story or a progression of the A story, so much as
just a change.
Yeah, we got bored of the first thing. Let's do something else.
One of just many just random sharp turns in this episode.
Yeah, you know that drama game where someone writes a paragraph and then they cover up all of it except for the last line and give it to the next person. The next person, let's continue the story. It feels like that. There's enough of a link from one point to the next that you can see that, like I said, it's coherent, but it's just such sharp turns that you're like, okay, I guess now this is about this.
Bart gets into a hospital. Homer gets a new cell phone. Homer hooks up a bunch of appliances to his car.
Christ.
Homer runs his car into the
Christ.
dock. Homer loses his license.
Homer starts
God.
walking everywhere. Homer gets hit by a car. Marge hates Homer. Homer tries to make it up. Wow.
They go to counseling and find out it's actually Homer that's the problem. Homer makes it up to Marge. It doesn't fucking
Homer
make
makes
sense.
it up to Marge in one easy fucking build a train move.
With the other guest star for this episode, Jackson Brown.
Yeah, sudden guest star cameo, second musical number. Homer rewrites the lyrics. All is forgiven.
And because they say that storytelling is often like a circle, your hero's journey kind of thing. You come back around, but you're always changed. It was like a story octagon, which is just angle, sudden turn.
Yeah, and it's not even like your perfect octagon, like your equilateral octagon.
It's a scalene octagon. I don't know what the term is. Right in, math nerds.
Like, I'm just still really bugged about the idea that it was Marge doing horrible things to Homer and then Homer has to make it up to her. Like,
yeah, it really was a different episode entirely.
Yeah.
I actually think that's a really interesting plot point. I mean, on the one hand, it's really out of character for Marge. It's fair. It's well deserved.
Yeah, after all this time to snap a
absolutely
little.
deserved. But it's just not who Marge has ever really been. Very rare for her to snap at all. There's that time she turns around in the car and yells at Lisa.
Mm-hmm. The time she just breaks the car, stops the car in the middle of the road and just turns it off and just quietly sits there.
Yeah, and it feels like in those moments...
and they have to like talk her down like a hostage negotiation thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, this one, it was... And it all unfolded so quickly with Marge, hitting him with the car, spilling the soup on him, knocking the cane out, and Homer's like, "Oh, Marge, I think you're trying to hurt me."
Yeah.
Oh, and within that scene as well, Homer's bedridden and then recovered.
Yeah, in the space of like a beat.
Yeah.
I really liked stopping his shitty walk song. His shitty walking song was another one that felt really ADD. It just like went all over the shop for no reason. The lyrics were really random. The introduction Disco Stew to talk about his booty and then write him out again.
But then you cut to the walk across the globe.
I could walk across the globe.
To Alaska, to Uzbekistan.
To hang out with Steve Buscemi. Then we'll go to Turkmenistan.
This is all terrible writing.
Oh, look at these racist archetypes of Turkmenistanians holding their broadswords.
You want to talk racism? How about the Black Power sign?
Oh my God.
That wasn't bad, but the fact the car was full of Carl Lou, Dr. Hibbert,
and Dredrick Tatum.
Yeah.
The only black characters all hanging out together, because that's obviously what they do.
Yeah, but Homer going, "No, I can finally give the Black Power symbol." Like, what?
What the fuck?
And
what the fuck?
And what was with their line? Was that Al Roker? Like, what is that joke?
No, nothing good. Anyway, the song was shit.
Yeah.
But I did like when it cut to him doing like the end of a song walk where all the cast is assembled behind him, and then the sudden cut to him getting hit by the car and Marge behind it. That was a really great.
That was a surprise
act closer,
the first time,
I was also saying before that I think exploring Marge hating Homer is a really interesting thing that they don't really tap on much.
No.
Because there's a lot of reason at this point for her to resent him.
Yeah.
She really sums it up nicely with, "Well, I guess everything just works out for you again."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yep, it sure does."
For real, man. They could have really done a Grimesy thing here. And they did for a second, and then it's like they shied away because it's a little too uncomfortable to address.
Yeah, but then what's worse than that is, okay, even if you're accepting, Homer needs to apologize to her, he just fixes it with a dinner.
Just same old, just as one nice gesture, and it's all back to
Band-Aid
normal.
on
Roll in the guest stars.
Fuck.
And roll in the French busboys.
Yeah. How much money did he spend on this fucking dinner, by the way? 30 tables in his backyard. Every member of Springfield is there.
Sea captain lost 12 good men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that bit went on way too long.
Importing workers from France.
Who are American, and then they come out going, "No, no, 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 no."
And then
busting tables.
And then he turns on the sprinklers, and apparently the French guys run away as well as the guests.
Well, yeah, the French are water soluble.
Hooray!
How about play count? How many times have you seen this episode before tonight?
Oh, I have not.
I'm going to say like 4.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this a bunch, like especially Homer in the car with the...
Yeah, that part was way more familiar than the rest of it. I feel like I've gotten to the part where I know what the episode is and then I leave.
Yeah. But that leads us into the wackiness. Yeah, that bit in the car, totally wacky. With the fog machine and the DJ and the chugga con, no chugga con. And
Chicka con.
That's really good.
It did. I remember it feeling like more of a poignant reference back in the day when, yes, it was all this stuff you can plug into your car's cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
Now it's just, because that doesn't even come with a cigarette lighter anymore, it's just the car's plug.
Yeah.
it feels like it's lost something. That's not really its fault, I suppose. It's the times have moved on without it.
Yeah, and all those like devices that he were using are just apps on your smartphone now.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas back in the day, you probably could have gotten a fax machine plugged into your cigarette lighter. But it's lost something in time, but not really its fault. But
the whimsy's there, though.
Yeah.
DJ machine, smoke machine, deep fryer.
TV teaching him how to cook while he cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, also I didn't think they built up enough of like the car filling up with smoke or anything for him to justify putting his head out the window. I thought that was poorly set up as well.
I do like the salesman is like, let me ask you, what is currently plugged into your car's cigarette lighter? No, the cigarette lighter? Oh, we have so much to talk about.
Yeah. Other wacky bits of the episode.
Flying penguins. I do really like this bit. Lisa goes in the enclosure, peeks in, they're all flying around. As soon as they see it, they just land and they like do the shifty eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
What secrets do those penguins have? What are they hiding?
The secrets.
Great. The judge taking his license and then guillotining the head off it and then feeding a half to each dog, which is snarling, and then saying, "Burn those dogs' poops."
I like that, yeah.
And the other guest star for this episode, Jane Kaczmarek as Judge Constance Harm. That is the character's name.
Yep.
And she is the mother from Malcolm in the Middle.
You know that scolding voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had like one line, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they brought her in for the teens years a lot of time as a replacement for Judge Snyder. I guess, yeah, they liked Malcolm in the Middle or something. And
well, again, it's a voice that you feel like you're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, actually, she's sort of like a Judge Judy caricature as well.
Pulls double duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't mean that for your joke, but it is. Yes!
Oh.
Judy.
Yeah, hey.
And other wackiness of this episode.
It's there. There was when they put the whale in the bag and the octopus in the bag.
Yep. The octopus grabs Bart and the turtle starts working the gut.
Yeah.
And the hammerhead like tonk, tonk, tonk. Just
they cut to like Millhouse in the with the pufferfish and then the other guy in the whale.
Millhouse is stuck in the whale.
Yeah.
Giant squid eating a bus full of kids.
Yep.
I also like sea lions are greatly endangered. They mainly survive by eating the scraps left over from film crews.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, there was some good material around
in the
this
open,
bit. Yeah. Even with Marge, like, oh, a mother's job is never done, and she's like cleaning up Skinner and taking the kick me sign off his back.
Yeah, that was very cute, watching her like lick her hand and then fix his hair and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like, I thought I was getting kicked a little more than usual.
Yeah.
There is one point of it's pseudo wackiness. I feel like we're going to argue on this because I actually kind of like Editor and Chimp and Buttercups of Autumn.
I liked the names. I just didn't like how Homer was switching between the two movies, doing his laughing at one thing, crying at another routine.
Yeah, true. I like the movies.
Homer's wacky reactions are so funny. Let's do like 30 seconds of it.
The reactions I didn't like. The movies I did. I fear I have become a buttercup of winter.
I'm fine with that, but they milked a good minute out of that thing, and it wasn't the movies. It was just watching him react to the movies because apparently him quickly changing his emotion is a big play for them, you know?
Yep, and it kept him occupied for hours, apparently.
Yeah.
That's
and
good,
what bugged me about that is they do the intro of them like they're coming back from an ad break. You're now watching Editor and Chimp. You're now watching Buttercups in Sunshine or whatever it was.
Buttercups of Autumn.
Buttercups of Autumn. Yeah, they do the you're now watching, and it's like, no, it's like being implied that these two movies are playing on loop in a video store. They wouldn't do that. Jordan's Anal Corner. But yeah, the whole Homer's reaction thing reminded me actually of the last episode where they cut to him at one point laughing about how they don't have the kids, and he's just laughing for so long.
Mood swings. Mood swings. Mood swings. Mood swings. Mood swings. Mood swings. Mood. That's okay, and so on.
And that's all the moods he has.
That's all the moods in the house.
Do you have a heart mood? Were there heart moments in this episode?
I think the heart for me was like Marge being angry with Homer and addressing that. That's a heart. It's just like a...
It is. I don't like how it came out. She's like, I don't like you. I mean, I don't hate you, I hate you. It was a little...
Yeah.
Just a little too
So forced.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was a
Conceptually,
deserved idea. It was a deserved way for her to feel. There was emotion there, and she has been shat on for 27 seasons. You know, and she was being really pushed around that whole episode and da 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 da. That's a decent, heartfelt moment, but I don't think the way they resolved it was deserved at all.
No, it did really undercut the heart.
Yeah, so like. I think the bad feels were there, the sad feels, but
I in theory they were there, but just in execution, because then we change gears so quickly to now Homer has to apologize. Now he has apologized, but it's so weak that it's just a band-aid.
And they have the therapist like explaining it to Homer because we can't be bothered showing it. We have to just tell it.
Yeah. Despite having years of archival footage, we could cut too quickly in a montage of disappointment.
And then he's like, "Well, what do I do?" And slips the guy $1 so he gets the next plot point of what I'm supposed to be
Romantic
doing.
dinner.
Yeah, accidental therapy playlist.
Boring.
Oh yeah, also accidental World's Fair playlist.
You know what?
They did mention
you know what he basically did? He just took out the script and said, "Okay, what happens next on the next scene?
Yeah,
romantic dinner."
It's like that scene in Spaceballs where they just watch the video to figure out what happens next.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I am so frustrated. I brought this episode to you guys thinking it was a bronze, like, and it may not be. But anyway, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
No. To me, no. It felt, with partial credit, it did sort of feel like 2, maybe 3 episodes. Like the first bit with the aquarium and the cars. The second bit with the ADD, with the anger issues and the marriage resolution. They're both 2 episodes I've seen a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But the ADD of the writing. I'm used. People with mental issues are probably going to take offense at the way we're just banding that about. We talked about like obsessive compulsive being an actual issue. What I mean is the easily distracted nature of the writing.
Yeah, and the sudden turns it makes, and it kind of just branches off and then comes back really quickly.
Yeah.
None of those branches worked. If they'd worked, it would have been fine, but it was just...
It makes it feel like the writers didn't care about anything they did. They got bored with their own ideas.
Yeah, or didn't want to go back and smooth it over and go, oh, you know what, this bit doesn't really make sense. Let's cut it. We'll put in something better.
Yeah, it wasn't like trusting its own setups or following through with their own setups.
It's not just lazy writing, it's cowardly writing.
And really shying away from having this deeper issue play out, and they were just more playing it for yucks and tacked on family dinner at the end to solve everything. And
not how The Simpsons should be.
Nope.
No.
Yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Just a bit with the seagull.
I feel like I'd watch the first, the aquarium parts again.
Yeah, I think I could be fooled into watching this episode because I'm mostly going to forget this episode.
Yeah, I feel like I would watch up until Homer drives in the ocean, and then I'd be out.
One act.
Yeah, that's enough for me. That's all I need, because that's where all the good stuff is. Everything else is just there. Except for, you want to know how to make a peach crumble, kick it in the groin.
Hey!
I feel like that's an old joke, but they did it well.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They tied it in nicely to the story then. Man, I'm doing the highlights of my notes right now, and there are just so many story turns here. And with Bart getting injured at the hospital, you think, how did Bart even get injured?
He was
in the fish
clamshell
tank.
in the fish.
Oh, yeah.
And then Skinner was like, look at those flawless pearls, but they're Bart's butt cheeks.
Waka waka.
And then he gets grabbed by the octopus, and then the turtle just works the kidneys.
So, you think it's going to be a story of Bart in the hospital, and Homer, where were you watching the movies? And then they're like, you need a cell phone. I don't know how to get a cell phone. Lindsay Nagel's
Comes
here.
out of the morgue, which is right next to Bart's room for some reason.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And... can you get me a phone that plays the Mexican Hat song? Here's one now. And then he launches into another song where he's dancing around the
How did we
phone.
forget the Mexican hat dance?
Dance, dance around the Mexican hat. And dance, dance.
And that's the end of that.
Or is it a singing? There's a ringing.
Or is it?
Lyrics, Mexican.
Yeah, just some quick fire things that I didn't like. The rich Texan, again, just for no reason there, being like, oh, you don't like us polluting, but try giving up your four-wheel drives. I'm here for no reason. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Americans dance on the dance floor. The Spaniards, they dance on a table. The Russians, they dance on a saver. The Mexicans dance on their hats.
Huh.
They dance on hot coals in Calcutta. In Wisconsin, they dance on fresh butter, but they squeeze with one cow or another. Yes, the Mexicans dance on their hats.
Was this written by a Mexican?
This was written by someone. That's all you need to know.
Amazing.
By anonymous. Did not want to be credited.
Written by no one. Alan Sherman.
Oh, of course it was.
Is that the Hello Mother, Hello Father guy?
That's the one.
There you go. Homer's line of public transport is for jerks and lesbians. What?
Yeah, again, it came out of nowhere. And that feels like, oh, we'll come back and fix it later, which they didn't.
Yeah. And when Homer's walking along, sees all the cars, and comic book guy makes the Sammy Hagar reference, I can't drive 55 because this only goes 38. Did you get the sound of me rolling my eyes then?
Yeah. All I can think of Sheridan's famous quote, fuck Sammy Hagar.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. I actually didn't mind the Ralph when he's in the car. I pulled up the park brake.
Yeah. Kind of undermined by Wiggum then chasing him. Like, if you could pull over, I'll let you play with my gun.
Yeah. Oh, God, I almost forgot that button.
Yeah.
Damn it. Ruined it.
There was no point to any of those bits.
No.
Homer was like, I'm walking, look at all these people passing me in the car. And we look at all these people passing me in the car. That's the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, you think of a
And
parallel...
that's the end of that.
You think of a parallel joke to that, like where Homer has to sit there not shooting anything for 3 days. And that's a really great little montage of, the target sign driving past him and Teddy and Selma. And
Yeah. And everything's really pointed and related to the plot.
Yeah. Whereas this is just, here's people in cars. Waka, waka, waka.
And then when he walks up to the power plant and Burns is like, oh, you're the first one here. That's like fine enough. And then Mr. Burns is like, I'll try walking. And then immediately collapses.
It's like, well, how did he even get there?
Yeah.
Mr. Burns give a prize to the first person to get to work every day? Because every day someone's going to be first.
Yeah. Do you have that many tickets to the World's Fair in 1933? I mean, did they print that many?
I mean, did you go? Because I didn't. I didn't even go to the one in 88. That was in our country.
But
I was alive.
But the sound of his bones crunching and everything, it was just overkill. Just like the section where they're going into the counseling and Apu and Manjula are coming out.
Yeah.
They're making reference to a recently aired episode at that time where Apu cheated on Manjula. And he's like, oh, you've finally forgiven me for cheating on you. And then she elbows him in the stomach and he goes, oh, that's great. She used to elbow me in the face. And
Missing teeth.
missing teeth.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
She's mad at you for infidelity.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, this episode was so fucking disappointing.
I know.
I didn't mind the whole how they see each other bit in the counseling session where Homer saw the therapist as a hot dog and
Yeah, and then he saw Homer as a dollar sign.
yeah.
I think if it was those 2 beats rather than like 5, I would have enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't even remember what he saw when he looked at Marge and
Doormat.
everything. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all right. And then how he goes, I think you're onto something, Doc. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't a what kind of reaction. It was, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah. But there was no setup of Homer's selfishness, which is what the turn in the therapy thing was, especially when he pulled up his list. Here's my 3 favorite people, Homer J. Simpson, and Commander Cool. That's me.
Yeah.
That's not making an impactful enough sound. There we go.
Listeners, Elliot is beating himself in the head with his book, trying to get the sound of him beating himself in the head with the microphone. However, it's just not loud enough.
Ironic, really. It is really. Microphone's just not loud enough.
Yeah, look, I think I've got more notes, but I don't want to mention them.
I'm actually kind of depressed on this one. It's I remember it being better.
Yeah. So
Way to betray me, memory.
There's no part of this that I really want to talk about.
I'm just glad that what we disagreed on, the part you didn't like was Homer's reaction to the movies, because if you didn't like Buttercups of Autumn, I would have had to have written an Oscar winner just to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's how spiteful I am sometimes.
Thankfully,
I don't. Yeah.
But I did. I really liked that old bit. I think I'm becoming a buttercup of winter.
It just feels like it's a good 2 seconds of like a trashy Oscar bait movie.
Yeah, because like we don't like have the Lifetime channel in Australia, but we're very aware of that sort of afternoon movie, sappy.
Oh yeah, Days of Our Lives, Passions.
Very, very much like that. A soap opera that's a movie that's on in the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very specific genre. All right, for lack of a better things to say, let's rank this thing.
That's my favorite thing you had said. Shut up, Ben.
Danny, kick it off.
I think I'm going to fail it. It doesn't feel forgettable. I think there are very many parts that we are very unhappy with. The writing style as a whole doesn't feel like The Simpsons. It left me pretty angry. I can't think of anything I really liked in this one. At least in the last one, there was one scene that we really laughed at, but this
and
is
everything
just...
else was,
Yeah, because Peach Crumble, like, we did get an audible laugh out of that, but...
Chuckled. It's wordplay. I chuckled at wordplay. It's not exactly high art.
Fair enough. All right, a failure for you. I'm going to give it a participant. I feel like it just drops in the more forgettable category. Whereas the last one, I was like, oh, this is on the border, which why I'm going to fall. This one actually just falls easily into participant for me, just for the forgettability, not the outright.
But the last one you gave participant as well, right?
Yeah.
So you marked them the same.
I'm marking them the same, but, that's on paper. And when people listen to the podcast, they will know the very slight degree of my participant.
Like, this is a participant, where the other one's like, participant.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a participant. BT, what do you reckon?
I'm a little stuck. I started on a participant bronze halfway through the episode, and then I shifted down to a participant fail. And I'm just trying to convince myself where I'm sitting on this one. I think I'm going to go participant. For me, this is participant for different reasons to the last one. The last one was just so much air that I just completely ignored and forgot about. And this one, while it's better structured, there's just its tangents and its branches just go nowhere, and they feel like first attempts. I think that first half does keep it out of the dregs of a full failure, even though the rest of it is pretty lame.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch everything up until Homer drives into the ocean. If you have to keep watching, watch everything up until Homer gets hit by a car. And if you have to watch the whole thing, then may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, take a nap, people. There's better ways to spend your time.
Read a book, people!
Read a book.
And yet, I'm just not quite convinced by my own summation there. I think I'm more struggling with the disappointment of it. I remember this being better. And I think it's more that's bothering me.
I don't know that I really want to talk you down, but probably could.
Like if you didn't talk me down off that rooftop, you shouldn't do it now.
Anyway, well, this will be. I've already mentioned all the other dull participants. So another interesting fact on the Simpsons Index spreadsheet, this will be the earliest episode to get a failing ranking now.
Oh,
Wow.
Earliest episode before that was Marge versus SSCCAT.
That one's a pretty bad episode.
Yeah, which got 2 failures and a participant. And yeah, this will be the earliest episode that will get a failing ranking in season 14.
Can I just try saying the word failure for this one?
Sure.
I give this a failure. No, it doesn't feel true.
See,
I'm totally participant on this one. I'm
to
right
me,
on the
a
border.
participant, there's nothing I really liked about it, but there's nothing I really disliked. Whereas a failure...
Yeah.
There's nothing I really liked about it, but there's plenty that I really disliked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a
yeah.
participant, I'm ambivalent because I don't really dislike anything about it.
Yeah, but I don't really dislike anything about this. It just exists. And
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll remember it slightly better, but at least I'll remember parts I liked.
Yeah, and yeah, whereas a bronze, which is what I thought I was bringing you today, it's an episode that you would watch again, but you're like, it's kind of a participant in spirit, but you got me smiling. This one didn't have that moment at all, but it didn't bring me up full of hate-filled rage of the red of the failure, so I'm pretty happy with the ranking.
It didn't turn me into a beach crumble by kicking me in the groin, so participant.
Hey listeners, we had some technical problems which prevented us from recording our classic episode segment this week, but not to worry, we do have a backup plan for times like this, so tonight we'll be diving into the vault of unreleased spare segments of the Simpsons Index. Anyway, so the next review you'll be hearing, it's one that was recorded about 3 months ago, and it was back when we were in the dank, and back when we used to do the old show format, where we'd cover the plot from start to finish. 3 months, it really wasn't that long ago, but because so much has changed with the show since then, it does really feel like a throwback to a long-forgotten era of 3 months ago. Anyway, so Coming up next is myself, Danny, Jordan, and Claire RR reviewing Simpson Tide. Sparkle, sparkle. And we are back, and we just watched a classic era episode. It was Season 9, Episode 19, Simpson Tide, written by Joshua Starnin and Jeffrey Ventimiglia. I'm not familiar with these writers.
Hey, Elliot, what's their names backwards?
Alim It Nev and Ninvert.
I feel like we all learned a little something there.
In this episode, Homer signs up for the Naval Reserves and Bart, rebelliously but in a conformist way, gets an earring. Guys, what did you think?
I think calling it a classic episode is
A little strong.
It's reaching slightly.
Yeah, so Season 9, Episode 19 is definitely on the cusp of what the Simpsons Index have determined to be the classic era.
Yeah. Look, I mean, from a classification point of view, yes, it's chronologically before the start of Season 10. However...
the wackiness is seeping in.
Yeah, you
through
can
every
see
pore.
the path that The Simpsons is going down at this point.
Yeah, not to say it's necessarily a bad episode.
It's not awful. You know, you think of the other classic hero episodes where you're like, oh, I love this episode. It's so much fun. And this one is kind of a bit of a struggle in some parts. Not the whole way through, but there are some parts where you're like, oh, come on, guys, really?
I had fond memories of this episode. Like when you put it on and I started watching it, I thought, oh yeah, I like the Navy episode. This is funny. And then I was watching it going, oh, the pacing's all weird and this is really bizarre. Like there's a lot of, I mean, all the humor essentially comes from like the wacky sort of jokes.
And for me, I actually had more fun in the Bart storyline, which is a shame that it was like wrapped up within half an act. And
yeah, there wasn't actually much to that storyline.
No, it was just the means to an end to get Homer to have the
earring,
the Deus Ex earring.
Yeah.
I think the thing that was good about the B storyline is all the characters in it felt like themselves, whereas Homer's Navy storyline was very much just they've got this plot and they're just going to jam a bunch of the Simpsons characters into it and see what happens.
So anyway, starting out at the beginning, Homer's having a Planet of the Donuts dream, and this is a bit silly, but I love the animation of it all.
Do you consider finger buns a donut?
Well, that's a very racist question to ask, Jordan.
Well, I
mean,
consider
no, hang on. Just because they look different doesn't mean that they don't deserve the same rights as our
I'm not saying they don't deserve the same
friends.
rights. I'm not saying they don't deserve the same rights. But you don't call a dog a human. It doesn't mean they don't deserve to be treated nicely. What I'm saying is, do you consider them technically a donut?
Oh, so eclairs are like dogs. They can't even speak English. Clearly, they could speak English.
Can't believe you think Claire's a dog,
I
Jordan.
know.
I'm not even
Wow.
gonna bite at all. What I'm asking is, to me, a donut has a hole. And there's a lot of finger buns in here that do not have holes.
Well,
Yeah, but who uses the holes on the donut if not for the finger buns?
Jesus. But like, I mean, even a stuffed donut, a cream-filled or a jam-filled donut, that's still
that's
a
where
donut.
the finger bun comes in.
Oh.
But you know,
I'm so
if a cronut's still a donut,
No, it's a cronut.
you're such a pastry separatist.
It's a...
Separate but equal for you, right, Jordan?
Exactly.
Anyway.
So I love how it comes out of it, and Lenny's like, "Hey, come on, wake up from your nap. It's time for our coffee break."
I've earned it. That was silly. I think they didn't need to add that stupid line at the end.
Yeah, the I've earned it was a bit too much. But yeah, I loved when Homer drools on the last donut. It's a really good visual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where you see the drool hit the camera and distort the Homer.
Although it makes it... Because we've reviewed other episodes where they've kind of done point of view shots. This one, it seems like it lands on a glass plate, almost, and I think they could have done it almost through the donut, as like have the shot through the hole of the donut.
You want to see some drool going through some donut hole?
Oh,
You want the like interior camera shot because you're into that niche stuff.
Called the money shot.
So Homer gets the brilliant idea to put the donut into the radiation tank or whatever, and
the core.
I do like that the donut comes out significantly smaller and more charred rather than bigger, and he still goes, success!
Yeah.
I didn't like the hand joke, because it's like, oh, that's what I did to my hand. oh wait, I mean this one. Like he would know. Like I mean, it's just that's what I kind of like about it. I mean,
It's
sometimes
clearly a joke for the audience. It's not a joke for him.
But it's also for those of us who remember the Mindy episode, the guy with the big hand who wrote the entire memoir on it. It first started back in 1964.
But then he falls over because it's so heavy.
It startled him.
Okay, well, Elliot liked it, so I mean, okay, fair enough.
I've got too big of a head and I'm going to fall over.
I'm really enjoying how much Elliot is enjoying this joke.
Look, it's stupid as fuck, I know, but it tickles me with its big hand.
And we've lost 2 now. All right, Danny, you and I are going to have to carry this episode.
We can do this.
Danny's asleep.
No, I'm still here.
So Mr. Burns demands an explanation for this, and this kicks up the line that gets referenced back later in the episode. It's my first day.
I actually, I mean, I like the little Mr. Burns scene.
Yeah.
Like, because he's always forgetting Homer, so it was quite in character for him.
But then, when he does realize, wait a minute, I've known you for years. You are fired. And then, smash cut to Homer on the couch, depressed and unemployed. And they do this bit now back to blaxploitation marathon or whatever.
Yeah, blaxploitation horror movies.
Yeah, Blackula and the
Blackenstein
and the Blunch Black of Blotcher Blaine.
I quite like that joke because that's exactly what they're like.
Oh yeah,
and then the funky music in the background as well. Yeah.
What does Homer say? He says like, "Ooh,
funky,
funky,
yeah, okay, yeah,
okay." You jive, turkey.
Gotta sass it.
Got to sass it.
And this kicks off this ad with the Naval Reserves. Not like any Navy ad I've ever seen.
No.
And fucking takes up 15 seconds of my time on YouTube. Fuck off, I'm not working for the government.
Hey, at least you're not getting the like targeted pregnancy ads.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh God.
Wait,
All of
to
it.
make you pregnant or?
They're like, if you're trying to have a baby, if you're trying to get married, you're
Stop.
having a baby or getting married? What are you doing being 30 and not having a baby or getting married?
I've genuinely never thought about what it's like for the other gender and their targeted ads.
All I get on YouTube are baby ads.
Well,
And they're all
stop.
this like one that goes, da, 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 and it won't let me skip it. And I just want to kill myself.
What does that mean for me then? Because I'm just getting Australian Army ones.
Yeah, I'm getting
You'll
Army.
never have another job like this.
If it's not Army, it's either work for Uber or get Macca's right now.
Okay, so single guys need to just, give up and, go get killed overseas. And
Get
single
fat.
women need to somehow find a man, even though all the single men are being sent overseas.
You should hook up with those Army guys before they get sent away.
Wow, the internet is really promoting some like 1950s-esque lifestyle.
Oh, right?
Women stay home, have children, men go fight countries.
Oh no, one of the Army ads, it's a woman. It's a woman in it, but she is not allowed on the front lines. She is driving like a forklift or something in a
Because
warehouse.
she's got to look after her in vitro baby that
Yeah,
she's
this is
been
true.
like encouraged to have because of YouTube.
Oh dear.
Where are we going? So that Army ad, which is basically saying you can just be a complete schlub for all but 12 weekends a year, and those weekends you're drunk off your ass.
I feel like this is a dig at the Naval Reserve. So
Oh,
it's
you
like
think?
you're
Yeah.
17th in line, to defend the country or something
behind
like
the
that.
Mississippi Guard or something.
Yeah.
But Homer, typical gag, quickly gets swayed over and, come on, Lisa, would you be proud of me? Yeah, whatever.
Yes, then I'll do it.
And I love how he's doing the interview with the Navy guy, and they crossed out the "don't ask, don't tell" question.
Yeah.
Please don't answer that question. I can literally lose my job.
But
I'm
I'm
not a la 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 la. What a nice man. I wonder if he's gay.
Shag, what you were saying earlier about oh no, I think it was Claire. Either way, how they just sort of shoehorned in all of Homer's friends into it. This scene at Moe's where, it's understandable. Barney and Moe, they're going to go off with Homer, but then Apu's there for no reason.
And the thing is, none of them really come into play later on. Like, they don't do anything that's so specific to their character that it would make a difference.
No.
Especially Apu. Did he do anything?
Even on the ship?
Yeah, he was on the ship because he thought of the cigarette machine.
Oh, yeah.
And Moe, got promoted to reading radar signals very quickly, and
Barney's in the engine room. But I can't remember Apu actually doing anything on the ship as such.
All right, I didn't mind Moe in his appearance there because he had one line, which, although stupid, is I really like, which was like, Yes, Captain, you big idiot. Like,
You dummy.
such a dummy. That's right. So I did quite enjoy that. But essentially, like, neither Barney nor Moe did anything particularly Barney or Moe-esque.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't.
Well, Barney was like just would prefer to get drunk instead of.
It was more to have Barney there so his mother could also be there.
I think that would have been a fine joke if it had just been left at the first joke. Like, you ain't got your mamas here to look after you now.
Yeah.
I do. If that had been the only appearance, it would have been great. I would have really enjoyed it. But because they brought her back and she was like, that's not how you wake him up.
Yeah,
You
the
gotta
poke him with the stick. Yeah, it was a
I
bit
don't want to go to school, Mum. Yeah.
Oh, God. So
pretty lame. But back at Moe's bar, so yeah, they go, yeah, we're all going to join you. And Homer goes, it'll be like the Deer Hunter. And then Moe, classic, goes, got to be back in a second. And especially for the early seasons, they did a lot of all the shady things that go on in Moe's bar. But never a
Smuggling
game of
that
Russian...
whale. Yeah.
Yeah, smuggling a whale, smuggling pandas.
Yep.
But never something like Russian roulette.
Oh, this is real. Is it Krusty vs. Skinner?
Yeah.
Which is fucking weird. Like, Jesus.
I really want to watch that spin-off showcase.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a dark showcase.
There was a couple
and
of-
brief.
There was
Yeah.
a couple of characters in the background.
The
Joan
mob characters and
Tightlips was
stuff, yeah.
there, and yeah.
some of the Asian gangsters as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, they were doing the Deer Hunter bit, the Diddy Mow, and like it was just confusing why it was there.
Look, I'll give them credit. If two characters were probably going to do Russian roulette, I'd imagine it probably would be Skinner and Krusty.
Well, I don't get Krusty because like Skinner, yeah, he was in Nam or something. And
Yeah.
He's surprisingly dark.
But I feel like
Yeah.
Krusty is always on like the verge of like bankruptcy and shame and suicide.
That's true.
That's not
like
bad.
Krusty is often involved in incredibly illegal activities.
Yeah.
So you could see how he fell.
And he probably has like no regard for his own life at all, I would say.
No.
Very weird. We missed the stupid clapping joke.
Going to war's as easy as turning off a light.
We don't have a clapper.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. It was a stupid joke. It sort of is one of those ones where you kind of get like that little smiley. Yeah. Like, because he goes, nighty-night. And it's that sort of, the calm after the rage.
Yeah.
It's just that they got to that point in a stupid way. Like, if Marge hadn't been there to point out that wasn't a clapper, do you know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
all know that
Yeah.
that light is
Yeah.
definitely not a clapper. Like,
Yeah,
if-
we
if-
didn't need Marge to point it out.
That's it. It was one of those point out moments for the joke. So
Yep.
I think that's what let it down, but I didn't mind it.
No. So Homer goes off for his first
Basic
weekend of training, and promises Bart to bring him back a weapon of unimaginable destruction.
Yeah.
Just slightly pre.
By like feeding his obsession with beating Flanders. Like, Flanders kids got a torpedo. Did they? Where the hell did Barney get that poster of Homer?
Yeah.
Either Homer has posed like that, taken a photo, and Barney's got the picture somehow, or Barney has made his own, like photoshopped Homer's face onto that poster and has brought it. But then Homer's like, what the hell? And Barney's like,
You know what it is? He got him drunk enough at Moe's so he could take that photo of him.
Ooh, he's been press ganged.
It's still a strange...
what?
He's been press ganged.
It's a strange gag. It is a very strange gag.
It's a weird...
Oh, can we jump ahead?
Yeah.
Not too far though, to the YMCA joke.
Yeah.
Okay, did anyone actually like that joke?
No.
It was very on the nose.
Yeah.
Like I liked it that he was counting it in as if it was a sea shanty. He was like a 1, a 2, and he was even like had almost a swing, and then
It was all fine until YMCA actually showed up, and then there was
Yeah.
Smithers, of course.
yeah,
It just, I did feel like this episode, watching back on it, had a lot of like really obvious, not
Yeah, it
particularly
was
funny, like
ham-fisted.
gay jokes, like
Yeah.
pointing, ha ha ha,
Yeah,
Navy, gay, ha.
and there was another one where Homer did go to basic training. You meant to tie the rope to the ship. Ship goes off a waterfall, and then he totally did a collar tug. Yeah.
That made me really mad, that joke. Actually, I was going, that's so dumb. It's not even a little bit funny.
No.
It's kids' humor.
But one wacky joke that I really did like, and I've thought about this often throughout the years, is when they do graduate basic training, and for some reason they're holding a bunch of graduation ceremonies all at the same time. Whatever.
Yes.
So yeah, Navy guys graduate. They all throw up their sailor hats, and there's a bunch of pastry chefs. And they throw up their French hats, and then the World War I recreationists
Yeah, I remember. I like
under
that
the
one.
Kaiser, and all the spiky hats come straight down. But I like it that they leave the camera up up, and then they just have the spiky hats come down there. Oh,
Yeah, not
We'll
like
go,
modern day
"Oh, no."
Simpsons where you'd see all the blood. It'd be in all the eyeballs.
can you imagine that? That's like a Happy Tree Friends joke. Just all the hats coming down, spiking everyone. So anyway, at the top of Act 2, this kicks in the tiny, tiny little B story of Bart getting an earring. Milhouse shows up at the bus stop with an earring. But I love how Bart's like immediately like, oh, Milhouse got it. There's
so
no way
jealous, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the thing about Bart. He's just like a people pleaser. He'll only do things that are cool in other people's eyes. It reminded me very much of the time where Lisa finds her friends on their beach trip, and instantly he's just so fucking jealous because he basically follows like the storybook kind of, what does a 10-year-old boy find cool? Comic books, skateboards, making mischief, and anything outside that spectrum he is completely uncomfortable with. And so anyone being able to find friends or get popularity.
D on that multiple choice is whatever the other guys find cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
I almost read this scene though as him making the wrong call almost. Like he's like, oh no, everyone's going to think you look really lame because he thinks it looks really lame. And then when everyone else on the bus is like, Milhouse, he's a badass.
Yeah.
That's when he's like, oh shit, I made like a huge
Exactly,
mistake.
yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
he was initially skeptical because it is Milhouse,
And it is like
Yeah.
a very, it's like a gold hoop earring.
Yeah.
It's quite large
It's
as well.
piratey.
It does look a little bit mummy.
But yeah, then back to like Bart going back to what he knows to try and get attention, doing
Oh,
the
dear.
Bart man. That was so funny.
Yeah.
That was really good callback.
Especially with if you get taken down by Ralph,
Yeah.
you know you've really fucked up.
So 91.
I just felt like this next bit with Skinner was so unnecessary as well. He comes up and he's like, earrings are banned under this school's uniform policy unless you're a gypsy.
And yeah, Milhouse like, oh, I want to suck your blood.
Nope, that's vampires. Oh, but they're covered too.
Yeah, that
Again, I didn't mind it. It was unnecessary, but
and then it briefly cuts back to Homer. He's done his basic training. He's putting on his uniform, but
Ooh.
no, it turns out he's going to bed. Mudge has a thing for Homer dressing up.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The Mr.
Yeah.
Plow jacket, the navy uniform.
She likes
you
a
know.
man in uniform.
And then he goes, do 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 march instead of charge. Instead of charge.
Yeah, it's the Charge song.
Lovely.
Like in that other Simpsons episode. Oh, has it got the one that plays Charge?
He goes to the museum for some reason, the Unpopular Wars Museum, with a 2 war story minimum.
Yeah, and he's talking with a guy who's wearing an eye patch, and I don't think I actually ever noticed this joke before.
Oh,
The guy with the eye patch
Oh
goes,
man.
I was in
I had
Haiti.
I had a Mai Tai. Didn't notice the parasol.
Where's
Poor
he?
guy.
Yeah. And then Abe's story, like,
Yeah.
about, like this is another one where he's in the Navy again instead of the Army or
Or the
wherever
Air
else
Force.
he's in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Or the
very,
Coast Guard or the bloody whatever.
Yeah, pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
One, which division Grandpa was in, and two, which war he fought in. Like,
Yeah.
at various
That's-
times, it's been Nam, Korea, and World War
It's a
II.
stereotype American grandfather thing, though.
That's fair.
That
However,
it's sort of ambiguous about what war they fought in, what armed forces they were with.
Yeah.
However, young Abe's arms are huge. Like he is buff as hell.
Oh,
in
yeah.
his flashback, and maybe that's a thing because it's his flashback. But I feel like it's
When you look at his flashbacks from Hellfish Bonanza episode,
That's
he
exactly
is
what I was going to
pretty
say. Where they
rough.
do the wrinkly gibberish, where they do that transition with the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see his arm go from wrinkly gibberish into fucking buff Simpson.
According, the world according to Grandpa, everyone back in the day was made of real man. You know, compared with the youth of today,
even the women.
Yeah.
especially the women.
So yeah, cutting back to Bart's story, he goes to the mall to go get his earring. He can't be showed up by Milhouse, and then they do an every second store is Starbucks gag.
Yeah. If it dangles, we'll punch a hole in it.
That was for the earring shop, not for Starbucks.
That's a penis joke.
Just made me think of ball sacks, though.
I like.
You like ball sacks?
Oh,
What?
no.
Yeah, that was the unspoken implication.
I like.
And yet I dared to speak it.
I like that he's in there, and they're like, oh, quick, we're turning into a Starbucks in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He walks out with an earring and a latte. Yeah. I actually like the Starbucks gag because we all know that happened.
Yeah,
Like,
and then
that's
suddenly
literally what happened.
There's nothing but Starbucks in the Westfields.
Yeah.
Oh, except now that it's out of Australia, there's only like 3 of them around.
They're building up again.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
really?
starting. They're
Yeah.
like not doing full shop fronts. They're doing more like inside Westfield kiosks
Yeah.
type
Oh,
things.
that's
like
that's the way to do it.
Also, did you notice it was Raphael again?
Oh,
As
yeah.
was the what do you call someone who does puncturist? I don't know.
Acupuncturist.
No,
An
Accurate,
piercer?
a
accurate
piercer?
puncturist.
Okay,
Maybe.
fair enough.
Body modifier.
Yeah.
What did I just say?
Body modifier.
No. It's a body morphin Power Ranger.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, and so he goes home to present the earring, and I like how Homer goes, this goes against our family's proud naval tradition.
Yeah.
He's been in for a week.
Yep.
And there's a little bit where he goes to school the next day. He's like, but there's a little song that like when they show the sparkle on all the other kids' earrings, it does a little kind of
Oh,
like
yeah, like a little a little triangle tingle, ting to ting. Like
yeah,
sort of
but it makes a little tune out of it.
yeah, I think that's another thing where they bring back that sound bite again at the end. Yeah, for all the faults in this episode, it did actually make good with tying in elements from the start to the end.
But dude, I have to mention Martin Prince's earring with like the skull.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
oh, and also Wiggum.
Oh,
Little
Ralph.
Wiggum's line. Come on, do it in the voice.
Say the line part.
Yeah.
My ear hurts and my shoulder hurts. I have 2 owies.
Awesome.
How the hell did he staple it like to his chest?
Because it was like a sort of a curvy
It
star
was a
shape.
shuriken.
Oh, I thought it was like he accidentally got it pierced somehow.
Oh my god.
He got pierced to
Oh
his
my
neck.
god.
It was
Oh, I
just caught in his shirt.
In Australia, we have an over 15s law for ear piercing.
Not for ear piercing.
No, I mean, ear
Really?
piercing, I got
You
mine at 11.
People
Your
pierce
ears are
their
pierced?
babies' ears.
Yeah, I've seen babies with pierced
What?
ears.
No, I thought you had to get like clip-ons for
No.
No.
People
Babe,
pierce their
isn't
infants'
that
ears.
cruelty to animals.
They cut the tip off boys' bits and doodles.
Yes,
Isn't
they
that
do.
much
Bits and doodles.
much
Yes, they do.
worse?
That sounds like a pasta dish.
It's,
For
it's,
sure.
just,
Shouldn't.
it's just the doodle. There's only one,
Yeah.
and there's no other bits that get cut.
Maybe you would have had more bits if they hadn't cut,
Cut 'em
your
off.
doodle. Yeah. Who knows? You
Maybe
don't
they're
know.
like 2 dicks. Well, this can't be.
Oh, I'd hate that doctor if he did that.
Yeah.
There's an evil dick that's in the attic that they're feeding fish heads.
Got a goatee.
Did you see that that AMA with the guy who had 2 dicks?
Oh, I read that like 3 times.
Amazing.
There's a brief bit where Homer goes to like a naval show with Bob
From
Bob Denver.
Burgers.
Bob Denver. Yep.
Yeah, Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. Another trope name.
It was like there was the main theater for the Real Navy, and there was like Bob Hope and Cindy Crawford.
Yeah.
And there was like the Navy Reserves had this tiny little off the side theater, and it was only Bob Denver. And
Yeah.
but
But
you know, there's a speaking of TV tropes, there's another one called Eat Gilligan, which is like, you know, it's like all the problems of this show could have been solved if you just fucking eat Gilligan.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that fucks everything up for them.
yeah, I like the whole like Bob Denver saying, people hit me with their hat and it hurts. And he walks off on that non-joke. And then Homer references later, but I thought the bit with the Rock'em Sock'em Robots fantasy was...
Yeah. It's not like a game could hurt me. And then he thinks of the time when a game hurt him, but he's controlling both the robots as well. And
He's
it's like,
begging them to stop, but he keeps pushing their buttons.
It's so
It's a
dumb.
stupid Homer
It's a
bit.
metaphor for life, isn't it?
So this all ends out. Homer's going off to his I don't know, weekend
War
of duty.
games,
Yeah,
yeah.
war games, and
With Captain Tennille.
yeah, so lame. And so yeah, this rounds off the whole Bart getting an earring story where Homer's like, "Oh, I'm not going to say goodbye to Bart," and he's like, "Fine, take the earring."
That didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel like Bart to be like, oh, well, if my dad...
But you know
It
what? He'd
says
already
no.
like not been cool.
Yeah, I
Like the
guess
so.
school, everyone. He's already been like, I've rebelled. I've fought with my dad, and I've gone to school, and now everyone has one, and it sucks. And I didn't even like this in the first
Yeah,
place.
that's a
so just
solid
take it
point.
back.
It's not like Bart was giving up much.
Yeah.
I liked the Homer line. I bet you rebelled when you were younger. Oh, well, when I was 10, I got my ear pierced, but it's nothing like this.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they do the village people bit next. another thing that kind of annoyed me about this bit was the animation was okay. One, I felt like the song was like playing at 1.1 speed or something. It just felt really fast. It wasn't quite.
It might be the whole. Here we go. The
American,
NTSC to PAL conversion bumps it up 4%.
Felt a little bit weird, but then also because it cuts to then the village people actually on the top of the submarine and Smithers there for no reason, but their mouths aren't in sync with the music either.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothered me. And then, they drown them. They kill them.
Yep, they kill
And
the
also
village people.
Smithers.
Well, but yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Smithers doesn't have a hat, so you
Why
don't know.
was Smithers there in the first place? Does he just appear whenever the
'Cause
village
he's
people start
gay.
playing?
Because he's gay.
Oh, it's so wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got
so wacky to
have
be
the
gay.
Indian, the construction worker, and the Smithers.
And it was like camera pan on the village people, and then camera jerks to the right to reveal Smithers because
Just dancing
because he's a punchline, because he's a fucking punchline.
But
And he deserves better.
I mean, it was already a bad joke, but then they all just went underneath, and then they descended, and then the hats rose up. Just like,
Yeah.
we get it. Like
Yeah.
they were on the
They're
outside.
The worst part of this bit was the intro into it, where the captain, who I assume is an admiral, was like
Captain Tennille.
Captain Admiral Tennille was like, whenever our submarine pulls out from a port, we sing this traditional sea shanty. And that leads into, of course...
See, that's the part of the joke I liked.
Really?
I didn't like how they dragged out the song so long.
No,
Like,
see, I think the problem with it is that if it had actually been, I don't know, any other song, but it felt like they were just like, oh, it's a Navy thing. We have to get YMCA in here.
Yeah.
Ooh, or if
Yeah.
it
Like,
was in
I
the
mean, not
Navy.
You know what it
YMCA,
should have
in the
been?
Navy.
Sunshine Buttercups.
What's Sunshine?
Sunshine Lollipops.
Yes.
Sunshine, lollipops.
Welcome
No,
to the
it should have-
jungle. We
It
are
should have
gonna
been in the
go.
Navy, but done in a sea shanty style.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Nice.
Okay, we've been ragging on this episode a bit, but this next scene, the dinner table scene, I fucking love everything about this. Where he's
clever.
like, listen to the whale song, and it's just Homer. Like, that's how his belly rumbles.
But then he opens his mouth and he makes the sound of this as well. I
Yeah.
was like,
No, I liked it. It was funny.
okay,
Me
okay.
too. And
All
then
right.
Homer's quest for peas. Yes, we must need peas, but what's the best way to get it? A knife. Which is like the worst way as well.
That was pretty good. I can't imagine Homer wanting peas though.
No, but, it made
It does
for the
fit the joke,
wordplay.
yes.
Yeah.
Homer wants food. He doesn't care
Yeah,
what
if
it is.
it's on the table, he wants it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ignoring his spoon, which you do see there, he grabs his knife.
Yeah.
And the other thing I liked about this bit was how quickly enamored Captain Tennille was with Homer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, no,
Yeah.
you use the knife. Yes, the bayonet. Haha. It might be the salt water in my veins or the nitrogen bubbles in my brain.
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah.
the shot to you.
Because he already liked him, was just like, I like the cut of your jib. What's a jib?
Yeah.
Promote this man.
Promote this man.
Yeah, I feel like I've used that quote over the years. What's a jib?
But then they just straight up kill him.
Yeah, so this starts to get into the part of the episode where it starts falling down for me. Yeah, where Homer's temporarily put in charge, but of course the captain climbs into the torpedo tube and gets shot out.
Does
no
he
reason for
die?
him to
Does
get
he die?
in.
It's greatly implied. I mean, he
He
went.
is fired into another submarine underwater.
Yeah.
John Zenecorner, what is propelling him? Because he does not have
He doesn't have
a propeller.
gunpowder in him,
No.
or
No.
like any sort of propellant.
Nitrogen bubbles.
Maybe it was all like because he's cleaning all. There it is.
But he's traveling fast enough for him to leave an impression on a submarine.
I like that. They fired a captain out, sir.
Yeah.
Return
Well,
fire, and then they
yeah,
like
they
grab
grab
him
him.
by the
Yeah.
arms.
Oh,
yeah.
a torpedo, you idiot.
They return fire, and the ship goes down to mood lighting, and the girl from Ipanema starts playing.
I didn't like it because like they're just looking at him and no one's like, hey, I need a decision. They
It
just
feels like
l-
they were stretching it out.
They
yeah.
just let him do it. And then they're like, the power comes back up and he's like, okay, like back to normal kind of thing.
Yeah. And so, yeah, at the
Yeah.
top of Act 3, this is where the episode starts losing me. Like, Homer going, what's in at the moment? Someone goes like David Schwimmer and...
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's ugly handsome. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And then Captain Sulu's there for no reason. It wasn't even George Takei. If it was George Takei's voice...
I'm pretty sure it's Admiral Sulu.
Seaman Sulu.
No, his
Yeah.
first name is Admiral.
Go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Doing my Admiral Star voice.
Yeah.
So Homer's in charge now, and they do the map joke, the map doing the
Yeah.
leaving the dots behind. I did like it because of how Homer goes, on second thought, right.
Like running into the element of the map,
Yeah, the
compass point.
So this next bit is really weird, and actually, the Ukrainian Twitter page posted a shot of this recently where he changes the Soviet Union. I thought you guys disbanded years ago. That's what we wanted you to think. Yeah, and changes the Russian to Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So I don't get this whole bit. Apparently, it issues a.
The Soviet Union was sort of this is a big time for a history lesson. Yeah, big communist sort of empire. Sort of, at least retrospectively, really looked at as villainous because of their disgusting injustices to their civilians and so on and so on and so on.
Different from Russia today.
Shout out to all our Russian fans. Still, this is a disgustingly tasteless bit. It's like if they did a shot of Germany and suddenly everyone like whipped off their shirts and were wearing Nazi uniforms, you know?
Right.
Really tasteless. And then it wasn't a daydream and it wasn't a flashback and it wasn't imaginary or anything. It just like carries on with the episode. Yeah. They're like, I guess that happened.
Zombie Lenin rises out from his glass grave.
Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on, guys?
This has like grave implications for the world if this happens.
Yeah,
if that's for realsies.
That's canon, man. It only has grave implications if you assume that Zombie Lenin can rise to power again. I mean, there's no reason people would like vote for him or anything. Oh well.
Also, I guess also consider because it wasn't like the Russian president. It was just the Russian UN member.
Yeah,
that is just like causing it. So like, what kind of power does he have?
The power to unleash tanks from a pleasant children's parade.
Once all the Russians see the guy in the UN has flipped the the little, what do they call that little placard that sits on your desk?
Now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so one little other kind of silly joke that I didn't like was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Homer, like the guidance systems were broken or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just a shot from outside the sub. And you hear the no, but then it's just surrounded by sea creatures who all kind of recoil at once, like giant squid and whales and stuff.
But Jordan, in space, no one can hear you scream.
In space,
it's not really explicit. So, like, I think it's the Americans who end up firing on him.
Yeah, they drop the depth charges, I think, to kind of like because I think they say to the Soviets or whatever, like, you know, we'll amnesty to get our ship back out or whatever. And they go, yeah, it's fine.
Cause the pinhole leak, which Homer, you know, brings back the earring from. And I like that as a plot point. But I thought the drama and the danger of the episode was kind of rushed.
Yeah. And it also kind of brought about a creepy bit where Bart's in his imagination is like, use the earring to plug the hole. And he goes, I'll plug your hole.
Whoa.
I don't like that, Homer. Don't say that. You fucking creep.
Oh my God.
I honestly, all my life, just thought about it as Homer punching Bart in the mouth.
Yeah, I never thought about that before.
Thanks, Jordan.
Never thought of
ruining the Simpsons.
About him.
One episode at a time.
Putting an earplug in his ear. Wow, that's...
Nope.
Can't believe you put that image in my head.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Plugging his hole.
There's a lot of Rule 34 of that, so, you know, if you want the actual visual...
We don't. Thank you.
But this all leads to another bit that I love in this episode, which is Homer saying it's my first day in various languages.
Oh, yeah.
How does he know how to say it in all those things?
He's a man of many talents.
I did like the penguin ship.
Yeah. Quack, quack, quack.
Yes, it's Antarctica.
And so Homer's at his hearing, and I love that he gets off the hook because everyone's being indicted.
Yeah, but then I didn't like the janitor joke. Like, I think that means you're off the hook. But I did like all the indictment jokes, yes.
Yeah.
Daniel's anal corner.
Yep.
If all 5 of the admirals, there's been a lot of admirals in this episode, get...
More because you keep adding them in.
Yeah, if they all get, what was it, discharged, how come Homer gets a dishonorable discharge? Who gives him that when he gets home? You know? He gets home and he's like, well, I got dishonorably discharged.
Acting Admiral Jenkins.
I would have liked to have seen if it was like scribbled in crayon, but with a Homer signature.
Admiral Janitor.
Yeah, his line, I was a bit on, you can't spell dishonorable without honorable.
I like Marge's line of, well, it's the best we could have hoped for. Like, she's got very realistic goals.
Yeah, that's great.
That's our Marge. So it is. You can do it if you want.
Sorry, no, I'm not. I haven't got the baritone. The
do
depth.
It. No, go James Earl Jones doing it.
It is time for the questionnaire.
Lovely. Play count. How many times do you think you've seen this episode?
Well, it's probably single figures for me.
Oh, really?
10 to 20 maybe, but all a very long time ago. I did not remember it as well as I thought I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, 20 to 30 maybe. You know what? Not as much as I thought I had, but enough that all of this was way familiar.
Yeah. I felt like I watched this more back in the early days, but recently when I put season 9 on, I actually do find myself skipping this one on the disc.
Yeah.
It's just a bit uneven, but anyway.
There's better ways to spend your time.
There sometimes are.
Yeah.
Did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Ooh.
It's a tough one. This is a tough one for that.
They do wacky things.
Too many wacky things. Oh my god.
Look, I feel like 60% feels like a Simpsons episode, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it
The
feels
Bart
enough
stuff,
like it.
the Bart stuff does, definitely.
Which is why I wish the airing thing was more of the episode.
Yeah.
Do the Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
But yeah, all that stuff with Bart's earring was great, and like him just being so see-through and jealous.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Copying Millhouse. Can you imagine what Bart's going to think when he realizes he copied Millhouse? In an attempt to look cool?
No, it's like, it was his craze. Millhouse just did it a day earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bart does it right.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
But yeah, I think mostly it felt like a Simpsons.
Yeah, it did.
I don't think any characters were particularly off. Like, you do things like wonder why Mo and Apu were there, but like...
Yeah.
The characters themselves were not out of character.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like the idea that Mo had a cat as well.
Mr. Snookums.
Oh, and his fourth walling of "What are you looking at?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that either.
I feel like that's in tying with Mo. He's in denial of his own emotions. That
Yeah.
Yeah, even in
totally
his
repressed.
imagination.
He can't even stand to look at his own fantasy bubble. The wackiness of the episode. Boing.
Oh, this
Way
is
too much,
super whack.
really.
Yeah.
And that's its downfall for me. And a lot of the wackiness seems to be really pushed in there, so it's like wrong. It's paced badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the jokes don't
They
either.
fire
have-
the Admiral out of the fucking cannon.
That's the
Look.
least wacky thing they do. I mean, like
It
there's
kills him.
Yeah. They kill... This episode has a death count of at least 7 with him and the village people.
and Smithers.
Oh, yeah, 8.
Oh, poor Smithers.
And Smithers isn't like Molman. He can't come back to life.
Yeah.
Like Kenny. Oh, wow. They were doing Kenny before South Park were. Interesting. How about the heart of this episode? Did you feel the heart?
No, I don't think so.
They go for it with Homer and Bart, you know, if it wasn't for the airing, blah, blah, blah. But
I don't know. It still feels a bit superficial.
I don't
Like
mind
this.
the do Marge.
Yeah.
That was quite cute. That's a nice little side for their relationship.
Yeah, more evidence that Marge is way into Homer's cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yeah, I think I would.
If it was on, yeah.
Probably.
How far away is the remote?
Oh, the remote? It fell down the side of the couch. You're sort of going to have to, like, roll over and get on your knees to, like, reach down far
Oh
enough
no,
to get it.
it's staying
I'm
on.
watching it.
All right. So we'll watch it again under those circumstances. What playlist would it go in? Homer Jobs.
One of those disjointed Raphael playlists again.
Yeah.
Marge's sexual appetite.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Marge's Costume Fetish, definitely. But trying to be cool.
Yeah, Bart's play for attentions.
Yeah.
But not being as cool as other kids.
Yeah, Millhouse being cool for a change. We pair this with Millhouse doesn't live here
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
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 Oh, what about Skinner's PTSD?
I don't know. He's fully embracing it if he's going to go play Deer Hunter games.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my
Like he's
God.
prepared to die.
Yeah.
What about Shady Business at the back of Moe's?
Yep, that's right. We pair this with the X-Files episode and the
yep.
one where he's got the pandas, yeah.
I was going to say Abe flashbacks.
Yeah.
Abe.
Abe's different,
Armed
assorted
force.
armed forces.
Yeah.
Totally.
Abe's assorted armed forces. Dirt cheap prices.
All right, well, it is time to rank this thing. Kick it off, Danny.
Me first.
Yep.
I'm sort of tossing up between silver and bronze.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking silver, and then, we got to that bit that just like was like, ooh, maybe that is bronze. Can we come back to me? I gotta have a think about it.
Sure thing. Claire, kick it off.
Young me would have rated it silver, I think.
Yep.
I'm going for bronze though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of its humor was very childish. Like the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I found that pretty funny when I was first watching this. This time it didn't really get a laugh out of me, and I felt like that was the way for a lot of the jokes. For a kid, I think this is a really funny episode because it's heaps of wacky humor. It's really fast paced.
Yeah.
Doesn't really require much knowledge about the Navy or anything like particular going on or about adult life in any sense of the way. Like, it's just a kid's episode.
Sure.
So very enjoyable on that level, but now watching it, a lot of it's very cheap laughs.
Fair enough. How about you, George?
I was just going to say, when you were talking about like it doesn't require knowledge of the Navy, I don't think they had any knowledge of the Navy either.
To draw this.
No
knowledge required to write this episode.
Does anyone know anything about the Navy? Fuck it. Let's just
I think they shaved somebody's hair. Yeah.
There's a Village People song. I know that.
I think it was just a lot of the jokes made me groan a lot. Thinking about like that ship going backwards off the waterfall. I'm like, that's so dumb. Why would you? You got to have it tied it to the other end of the ship. Anyway.
So this is nothing about ranking, but I just thought of my favorite part of this episode, which was the couch gag, the Rocky and Bullwinkle style couch gag.
Oh, yeah. We don't often mention the couch gags on the Simpsons Index, but that was just beautiful styling.
Really, really fast, really like perfectly styled. Yeah, loved it.
Yeah,
Okay,
the music
and
the animation stars.
I did like with the silhouette on the cliff, and it kind of cracks and they kind of fall, and
it was very
and
pretty.
the flowers, perfect Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, as a long time Rocky and Bullwinkle fan, I fucking loved that. But anyway, sorry, Jordan.
After all that, I'm still
sorry, Jordan.
No. It's not that it's good. It's stalling because I'm still not quite decided.
Stalling.
Oh, okay, I got this one then. I made up my mind while I was listening to you guys talk.
Go.
I really didn't like the gay stuff. Felt like
gay stuff.
Yeah, that's what.
Did it make you feel uncomfortable, Daniel?
Sorry, no, that's the opposite. It felt like they don't like the gay stuff, and
No,
that made me uncomfortable. More than that, I really didn't like the Soviet Union thing. Really disappointed me. It really struck out. I made her really convince myself on just how disgusting a bit that was. Bronze, borderline participant. I'm gonna say bronze.
Yep.
Ooh.
All right, that's a bronze for Danny and Jordan.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it bronze as well. I was kind of thinking, people are gonna give it silver and gold, and I'm gonna be like really mean and give it a bronze. But thank you, all of you, for being as mean and cold-hearted as I am.
Your ruthlessness.
To me, this is kind of seems like the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
of
sure.
Of the good stuff.
Well, yeah, this is after Principal and the Pauper, and a lot of there is a popular theory that the classic era ends at the Principal and the Pauper, and I sort of get that. But for the index purposes, I felt like season 9 has more classic than not classic episodes. But this one in particular, I feel, you're right, this is indicative of the end. But in conversation about it, I did feel like there were still a lot of bits that I liked, and like many of you, it was borderline bronze and silver, and I'm just going with silver because I feel like it was a bronze story with a lot of silver moments that made it shine a bit brighter for me. But yeah, bronze just does feel a bit too low for my personal ranking, so I'm giving it silver.
That's the shiny bronze.
So 3 bronzes and a silver. That'll put this into the shiny bronze category. This will join such episodes as, also from Season 9, Natural Born Kisses, 30 Minutes Over Tokyo, Beyond Blunderdome, Day of the Jackanapes, Spelling Fast as I Can, Homer of Seville, No Loan Again, Naturally, and There Will Be Buds.
Yay, adequate.
Nice. Yeah, good. I feel like it's in decent company there. All right, and that concludes episode 56 of the Simpsons Index. On behalf of BT, Danny, Claire, Jordan, and myself, thank you for listening to our show. And remember, if you can't get enough of us, we've also got a web series that's called Dave Plus One. It's available for free on YouTube or at our website, daveplusone.com. I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.
And for tulles extra content?
I have chosen Lederhosen. I have chosen Lederhosen.
Hey, that's a good one.
I have chosen frozen Lederhosen. Oh, that's fun. Give that a shot. I have frozen Lederhosen.
Oh my god.
I have chosen frozen Lederhosen.
Yeah, much like when Homer in that other episode. When I was 10, my dad bought me a catcher's mitt. It was like, I forget how that ties in.
Great story.
Wasn't it like I
I
wanted?
like stories.
So, Danny, I see we've put together a baseball team, and I was wondering who's on first.
Why, yes, they are. No, this is going to go badly.
So saying goodbye to the
I
family.
will go to the one place where capitalism hasn't yet reached. Spice! Sorry, war
It's
games.
all right. It's been 14 episodes running. Got to fit it. Got to make sure we fit a space reference in.
You say that completely without sarcasm.
And like I haven't been removing every other space. Well, on the Simpsons index, we rank using our 6-point scale.
Interesting. Tell me more.